Welcome to Refine and Shine, the podcast where we master the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of our lives. I'm your host, Angelina Rivera, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our habits, processes, and lives to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us as we dive deep into achieving more without the burnout and all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. Each episode features practical strategies for upleveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals. Our diverse guests are going to share personal stories and the systems that they've used to make impactful tweaks in their lives, allowing them to truly shine. Listen in to learn how to implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I specialize in helping you streamline your life and business by increasing productivity, boosting profits, and reducing frustration. As an expert consultant in systems and processes, I've had the privilege of training over 600 individuals and teams, guiding them to optimize time management, drive positive change, ultimately enhancing overall operational efficiency. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. All right. Well, everyone, welcome to Refine and Shine. And I'm so excited. I have a special guest. My guest is Mary, and Mary is an amazing person. I've met her through joining a personal growth group, which we did several personal groups virtually for a little over a year before we actually finally met in person. This is one reason why I honestly recommend putting yourself into rooms, even if it's in a virtual personal growth type setting, because you never know who you're going to meet. And once I met Mary and we physically actually met, like I felt like I knew her my whole life. We've had a lot of the same life challenges, and we have a love for animals, and we're just meshed so well together. Mary has a rich background of 9 years in nursing and a significant chapter as an Army Reserve nurse. Mary has woven her experiences into a tapestry of service and empowerment. Her journey led her to create Healing While She Rises, a coaching program where she guides individuals towards profound healing, encouraging her clients to take ownership of their lives and break free from cycles that hold them back. As the voice behind the Healing While She Rises podcast, she extends her mission to a wider audience, sharing insights and stories that foster resilience and growth. Beyond her professional endeavors, she's a fervent advocate for the infertility community, sharing her personal journey to parenthood with openness and hope. Her love for food, books, and deep intellectual conversation fills her soul, adding depth and joy to her journey of helping others rise. I just love that part too, because like I don't know how many conversations that we've had about food or and books we're reading. And so
Yes.
I'm so excited to have you on here on Refine and Shine, where we talk to others and share how we've had to go through some pivots in our lives in order to, and like refine our habits or just make some tweaks into our systems or whatever we're doing, our personal growth journey in order to shine for others. And so thank you, Mary, for being here. And so just tell me a little bit about just pick a time or pick an occasion where you decided that you just needed to pivot in your life and make some changes for the better.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm so excited you have your podcast now. It was time. It was
Yes.
time and overdue, but I'm so excited for you on this journey. But pick a time where I had a pivot. Oh gosh. I would say I feel like there was a lot of times in life where I had to pivot, but I didn't pivot, or I was so resistant to it. And it almost like forced me to pivot. Um, but the most, I think, recent one that I can recall where actually I chose to pivot is I close a chapter in my business to open a new opportunity, a new season of helping others heal and find growth within themselves and heal parts of themselves that kind of lead into their relationships, marriage, their business. And I'm finding a lot of joy and fulfillment in that. So, yeah.
I think that's awesome. And you brought up a good point. So sometimes we hear all the signs or we see all the signs and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, maybe I should stop. And we keep fighting it and like, no, I'm just going to keep going, keep going. But then
Mm-hmm.
there's times where, we're forced to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And or we're forced to make changes.
Yeah.
In my first episode of my podcast, that's one of the things that I've shared about where I just had complete burnout, and I had like God was telling me like you have to slow down, or
Yeah.
like you are gonna like you're going to die, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much if you don't take
Mm-hmm.
care of yourself. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
it's also important that when people understand when we close chapters in our businesses, or we, start to do another change, like how I like switched an entirely different job and
Mm-hmm.
all the things, it's not because we are like it's such a hard decision just to make that choice. And I think that
Yeah.
it's more commendable that we like say, hey, I'm done and move
Mm-hmm.
on and show other growth and to show what we can gain from that. And
Mm-hmm.
those are the things
Mm-hmm.
that are, it's not easy choices. And so um, I love that you're helping others. And this is
Mm-hmm.
like just seeing what you've done in your coaching community in the last you've been doing this for almost a year now.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why you decided to go into coaching.
Um, it's just crazy, actually, just the whole timing of it all. And of course, it was happening a lot. You feel like when it rains, it like pours, right? It was in the middle of a move, but I personally went through and still going through my healing journey. So like looking back at when like was forced to pivot, I guess I was asking myself the wrong questions. Like I was so focused on like, why is this happening to me? Why is this so difficult? Why can't it just go smoothly? Instead of like, kind of looking at a bird's eye view and like, okay, where do I need to pivot? What can I do differently? Um, but now that I've been through my own personal journey, I've come to a realization that I have all these beautiful strengths. Why am I just sitting on it? And so, made the big investment to get coached personally through a program that I went through myself and found like profound. I just had a huge transformation, and so um, I yeah decided to just jump into coaching, and also kind of like it's like I'm on my own healing journey and I know that my clients are on their healing journey, but um I'm like finding a lot of healing as I'm coaching. You know, it's
Mhm.
it's it's through their journey and through their perspective and through their experiences. And so I'm finding a lot of fulfillment in it. Um but that's how I got into coaching. Yeah.
I like how you talked about that you're still healing and that as you're going through it and you're coaching others, you're healing it from that
Mhm.
within itself. It's like an onion, and you're just peeling the layers and the layers, and then you
Mhm.
you find I've found that through coaching and our being coached, that there are some things that we have pushed down so much inside because we wanted to avoid
Yes. Yes.
dealing with those maybe traumas or things like that. And once we start to like heal, or and then we like, okay, there's another layer to heal. And
Mhm.
it actually it's made me a stronger person because I've like, okay, this is what I've done. And And it also brings us back to the perspective that no matter how hard things are, that we've come so far and that we can conquer like anything that comes our way. Even though it's
Yeah.
so hard in that moment, it gives us like the strength to like we've been through this or we've been through something similar. We can
Yeah.
move forward. And I think that's part of what you've shared about the rising, healing while
Yeah.
she rises is awesome.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and healing is not it's not this like final destination that you arrive or, getting to the other side thinking that the grass is greener on the other side and like everything life's going to be perfect. Like it's like healing ing for a reason. There's different layers of it like you talked about the onion. Like your podcast is not refined. Like it's like you're all refined and good now, life's perfect. Like there's all different layers of healing, different things that come up and different opportunities. And I guess like this brings up the topic for me. I don't know why, like failure when you're talking about like pivoting. Um, and I like have been really exploring this word failure. Because what is failure? Like it almost feels defeating and like, oh, you failed at something. I don't know, I couldn't do it. Like pivoting in my other business. And when you talk about how hard it is, that's why it's coming up. And it's hard to be in it. Hard to be in that season, but it's not really failing. And in the beginning, I was like, oh, I failed at this. I quit at this. That's why it was so hard to pivot, but we just need to get that out of our vocabulary. It's you learned from that experience, you've had growth from that experience, and now you're just moving on to another season. That's, you're called to do, you know?
No, I love how you said that. And, and actually, and some people think that when they failed at something or didn't meet expectations, that's what failure means, right? Didn't meet
Yeah.
expectations or
Hmm.
the desired goal or outcome.
Hmm.
But it can also be a valuable learning experience. And that's what we
Yeah.
need to like realize is like, what lessons can I learn from this?
Hmm.
I had that feelings numerous times in my life where I didn't get something or I didn't work for something or,
Yeah.
I had tragedy or,
Yeah.
things that happened and I felt like maybe I failed or,
Hmm.
God didn't want me to be a mom at this time or,
Hmm.
little things like that. Or not little, it was big things.
Hmm.
Um, but it was like, what do I need to do for my continuous growth and how can I
Yes.
improve on? And that's the thing that I love to share with others is just like we're continuously need to work on improving ourselves and growing and
Yes. Hmm.
reading the books and doing the counseling and the coaching and putting
Hmm.
ourselves into rooms because there is lots of things if we want to be like the best of the best we have to continue to want to learn and improve and
Hmm.
grow.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
I would say failure would be like a stepping stone to eventual success rather than a definite end to something.
Right. And I don't remember what book I read. Or maybe it was like a podcast. He asks his kids every single day, "What did you fail at?" He's almost bringing it into their lives like, "Hey, you're not perfect. Like you are going to fail every single day at something, but you're going to learn from it. Like, what did you fail at today? What did you learn from that?" So it's like he's creating a positive environment behind that instead of like this negative, like icky feeling like if I don't get an A, I'm a failure. If I don't be successful in this business, I have failed, right? When yeah, you're right. It's a growth opportunity and you've become a different person and you learned so many new skills from that and that you can take forward into your next business or something else that you do and your next endeavor that you do. Yeah.
I really love that. That's something
Mhm.
that's good to share
Mhm.
and stuff. So that's great.
Mhm.
So your coaching program that you do, I mean, you've helped a variety of people, and
Mhm.
just tell me a little bit about what you do with your coaching program. I mean, you do group coaching, one-on-one coaching? Share a little bit about how you help people.
Yeah, I do both group and one-on-one. Um and my coaching program based off of what program we can you can go look that up on my website on the length of the different coaching programs, but I pretty much help them. Like, I'm not there to give them answers. Like, I'm not there to give them advice. Like, yes, there's like content that I do teach on that's a different perspective. I'm not there to, change your routines or your habits or help you change your thoughts. I'm here to help pull out like the answers that you already know that's within you and give you kind of be confrontational a little bit. Um, I'm not the coach that's like everything's gonna be great, like overly positive. I'm like help you. I'm confrontational in ways where, I bring light to you. If you're staying stuck in victim, kind of helping you figure that out. Like, what's the story behind that? And help you just bring light to it. Because once you bring light to things, I feel like it can't get a hold of you. And once you decide to like start taking ownership of certain things, my top three dominating behaviors, which I help my clients take or help my clients uncover in the coaching program, is bringing light to those, so it doesn't control their life like it has been for probably multiple decades. So I'm a coach that pretty much is confrontational, that brings light to a lot of things that are keeping them stuck in their business, in their relationship with themselves, relationship with God. Um, yeah. So that's a little bit about my coaching program. And everyone has different stories. Everyone has been through all walks of life. Um, and I don't have like one specific niche that I focus on. I just help people get unstuck in whatever area it is that they want to get unstuck in.
And that's what I love about the way that you do your program is because you're not just like it's only specific to this type of person or this type of
Mhm,
client because
mhm,
you want to help like make a big impact. And I think
mhm,
that sometimes people say that you need a niche down, you need to be very
mhm.
specific on who you want to help, but when you put it out there and you market it and you share about what you're teaching or what you're coaching on, the people that'll come to you are the people that need it because whatever
Yes.
you're saying, it's going to resonate with them.
Yes.
You're going to help them with their pain points. And where I'm on the opposite of the of my program where I am helping them with their habits and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's where sometimes people are like, "Oh, I have a coach." Well, there's different types of coaching,
Yes.
right? I'm helping more with how do you get your habits? What are the systems that you need to put in place?
Yeah.
But even what you teach, like you teach a system that helps people not to be, helps them with being triggered and helps them
Mhm,
like
mhm,
how to deal with confrontation and things like that as
mhm,
well.
mhm,
And I think
mhm.
it's just amazing what you do. And
Thank
um,
you.
I think I've done the coaching program that you
Mhm,
share and teach on, and it's helped me tremendously. And I've done it actually several times with
mhm.
different types of environments, and
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
it's
it's
continuous.
it's powerful and it's different. Um, it's very different, and that's what I loved about it, and that's what I was drawn to it personally when I went through it. It's not like it's 180. You're shifting your life 180. You're sitting in the hard. You're not um being overly positive or overly negative. It's like you're getting to this space of neutrality where, this used to bother me, but I'm not like overly positive about this. It's just like, oh, okay, what can I do with this? How do I work with this of what's happening? Um, yeah, just creating a neutrality. So,
And I like how you said it's to help, it's to decide to make decisions to change, to heal, and to
hmm
maybe move into, like, for me, when I went through it and decided to end my career and what I was doing and go to a wholly different career.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you think about like the pros and the cons and different outcomes and consider all the values and everything else with it. And
Yeah.
it just helps you surrender all of the things, like for me, it was a big decision because I didn't like, I felt secure in where I was. Maybe not like it was no potential to keep moving up, but I felt
Mm-hmm.
secure in that I had a job.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, what I wanted, if I go and it's unknown, but am I holding myself back? Am I not letting myself soar to different levels? And
Mm,
you talked about that a little bit ago, is when you said that, like, are you limiting yourself in the
mm-hmm.
career that you were doing, or you stopped a business to go to a different business?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what people, why doing a type of coaching, your type of coaching program is really helpful, is because it helps you see, like, what is it that I'm holding back, or I'm playing small at because I'm so
Right.
scared because of the maybe things that have happened in the past. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to, like, I don't want to cause any moves or any uproar or any, things like that, would say.
Yeah. Um,
You do your program, you're going through some life, you're living life, and you're going through some circumstances right now that,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I would love for you to share about that as well.
Yeah, that, you know, maybe 2, 3 years ago, I've always said I wanted to be a coach, but I always felt like I had to, again, this was like before my healing journey. It's like I had to be like this version of myself in order for me to help others. But it's like, no, everyone experiences hardship. Everyone has moments where they're, grieving different things. And yeah, my journey to parenthood it has its ups and downs. And I don't show up as a coach like, oh, everything's perfect. My life's perfect. Like, no, I show up authentically me. Like if I'm having a hard day, yeah, I'm having a hard day. Like if something makes me sad, okay, I cry, I cry. Like things like that. Like I don't show up because it's life. Everyone is going through something um in different seasons in their life. But yeah, my it's been about 4 years trying my journey to parenthood with my husband, to grow a family of my own. Um, and we're doing things a little different. We both weren't called to do like infertility or like IVF.
Hmm.
We just weren't ready for it, and we weren't like financially, we're just kind of like, we're just like, why? We're trying to get to the root of things.
Hmm.
And I know that's what your, gut health business is about, getting to the root of things. And so it's been like a long 4 years of getting to the root of things. And we're finally getting, every step 1 inch closer, 1 inch closer, to getting answers. And so we're doing things very unconventional, because the normal thing would be to go do IVF or IUI, and then adoption and all of that stuff. But we actually flew down to Chicago last February, and we're seeing a reproductive immunologist for her to like take a deep dive into my immune system. And so we're working with her right now to again get pregnant naturally, without the help of like, yes, we're getting medical help, and yes, there's prescription medications, but without like the IVF of like retrieving the eggs and making an embryo and implanting and all of that stuff, which is a lot of money. So, um, yeah, that's a little bit about it. It's still ongoing every month. I have, good days, bad days. There's days where I'm really sad. There's days I'm angry. There's days, I'm still going through, as I'm go in the middle of it, grieving grieving not, yes, my losses of my pregnancy, but grieving like the idea of how my life should have been, idea of where I should be, like with 2 kids, or like the idea of how I should have been pregnant quickly, right? Because I have no answers on why I can't get pregnant. And so really in the middle of it, but in a good spot because I'm continuing to do the healing journey. Um, because in the beginning, I felt like it was like, why me? Why are you doing this to me, God? Like, I feel forgotten. Like, why is this happening to me? Of course, like, of all the things that have happened in my life, it was like, why me? Why me? Why me? Why me? Why me? It was like I was staying in victim.
Hmm.
And all of my traumas that I thought I was healed from was, coming back up with a vengeance. And yeah, doing the healing work myself. So, mhm,
Well, I think that it's something like, and I share a little bit, in my first episode is,
mhm,
where I had a huge loss and
mhm,
miscarried, and
mhm.
it was hard, and I didn't heal from it, or I just like jumped into something real quick
Yeah,
thinking, okay, I'm a failure. I'm not going to talk
yeah,
about it. I'm just going to
yeah,
I'm like move into action mode, and then
yeah,
ended up just burning out because of that
yeah,
and
yeah,
collapsing.
yeah.
And it's just really focusing that like you got to like surrender, give it to God.
Mhm,
And like God
mhm.
knows the plans he has for you,
Yeah.
like Jeremiah 29:11, like it's not our timing, it's his timing. And
Yeah.
really letting go of that and just saying, okay,
Mhm,
God, thank you for allowing me to wake up today. And thank you for
mhm,
all of these things, instead of the how we can quickly change our mind to like negative and being angry, and just be
mhm.
blessed that just enjoy the present moment that we
Right.
have. I think that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. And yeah, I know it's easier said than done, right? Just like
Hmm.
surrender and then it's all better. But no, it's a process. It's a daily process, a monthly process, like yearly process to get to where, I am at today. But
Hmm.
knowing and giving yourself the grace, like, guess what? Like, it's okay to still cry about what happened like 20 years ago,
Hmm.
or the memory to pop up and used to have the feelings of sadness or angry or whatever the emotion is. Um, but also allowing yourself to feel the happy. I was just talking to a client the other day about this. We're so good at like sitting in the feeling of what we're feeling that we're not like actually allowing the emotion. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that it includes happiness, includes happy. Like, how many times have you, like, when something really, 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 really good happens and you're just like, oh, this is so awesome. And then you just move on. Okay, what's next? Like, what's my
Hmm.
next to do thing? No, like, what's the next thing that I need to achieve instead of like actually sitting in the happiness, enjoying it, feeling it in your body and with your family. Like, yeah. Hmm.
When you don't acknowledge the emotion, or don't even like, you're like you just said, like what's next or what's that, you're not even allowing your body to, or even your mind to make like just be present in the moment.
Hmm.
And then it can go in, because this has happened to me where I've like, I'm all about like a schedule, and I'm like, and I've had
Right.
to like kids' birthday parties,
Yeah.
I had to learn like, hey, it doesn't have to be this, like just enjoy the moment and enjoy,
Yes.
and not be so rushed,
Yes.
and just take 1,000 photos, or have somebody, like if that was one thing I could do all over again, would spend the money, not
Hmm.
on the big place to rent or anything, like spend the money on hiring a photographer, or have somebody assigned just to take all the photos, so
Hmm.
that I could truly
Hmm.
be present.
Yeah.
And it's something like just those little things like that, just to be present, and just not okay, this is done, next on the checklist, this is done, next on the checklist, like,
Yeah. Right.
and just live the life that God wants you to live and be present.
Absolutely. And it's so hard. It's easy to fall into that, especially in business. It's okay, this is what I need to do every single day. If I don't get this done, I feel like I'm a failure or like I don't feel like I'm enough. Like, no. Like, okay, let's look at the real picture here. Okay, what about this list? Why didn't you get it done?
Hmm.
Right? Were you spending time with your family? Something
Hmm.
else came up important? or were you avoiding it? So like, trying to get to those culprit and seeking, asking yourself more questions in those moments instead of beating yourself up and making you feel guilty and being mean to yourself on like not getting the checklist done um in your crazy season, whatever season you're in.
Now, yeah, that's important. In fact, with my coaching clients, this week we're going to be going over. I had them do like, this is your schedule, and this is what you're going to, like you guys have to curate it. I'm not going to give you a perfect schedule because I don't know your lives. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you need to figure it out. And then I talked about time blocking, but this week we're going to
Mm-hmm.
go over time auditing. So I'm like, I also want you to
Mm.
kind of track what you spend your time on doing. And if you can't get things done, we're going to go over that this week because sometimes people think that we're not being that we have to just like we have 8 hours, we have to get this done, this done.
Yeah.
But actually, majority of the time, we're actually wasting time because we're just trying to move from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. That we're doing things not as good as we should do because we're just like trying to just rush through the motions instead of
Yes.
like really like my focus. Like when I redo my time to create, I do a lot of that when I'm traveling because I'm in a quiet space. I can focus. I'm stuck on a plane or,
Mm-hmm.
I can't move.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my time where I can really go into curation mode. And then I'm like, okay, these are the things that I can't be distracted from. I can't be distracted because I have a hard time focusing sometimes. And so I try to like schedule those hard to focus things that I
Mm-hmm.
have a hard time focusing or a hard time being distracted. Like it helps. I have to take a minute just to get back into gear. I schedule those things when I'm away from my family
Yeah.
because it's really, so it's like blocking things off so that your mind can go and focus on the right things
Mm-hmm.
at the right time and
Yeah.
not being so wrapped up in a to-do list is and just try to think of three top priorities that you need. And is it really a
Mm-hmm.
priority? Like if I have a busy season, I'm sorry, but washing the dishes is not a priority. Like my
Yeah.
husband always says, well, when I was little, we couldn't like we going to bed with the dirty sink was bad. Well, that's okay because in my priority, it's not a you can wash
That's
those
okay.
dishes if it bothers you.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, it's just that's just an example. We really don't argue over the
Yeah.
dishes, but we used to when we were raising our children, it was like I felt like I always had to, I was raising going to school full time, I was working full time, I commuted at the time, and then even when I was like my kids were in sports, I would go and take work with me at sports because I'd have to leave work early just to take them to the practices. And I would go and do work. And then I was like, one time I was like, wait a minute, I need to enjoy the moment of watching my kids kick a soccer ball
Mm-hmm.
or play basketball. Or
Yeah.
my daughter would sit, I'm sitting there, working on stuff. And then my daughter would be like, want to come sit next to me. So then I started walking and like,
Mm.
okay, I'm going to start moving my body instead of just sitting and going from one place to the next place. And it was another part where I had to like focus on my health. And,
Yeah.
but it's just like, we're so like, we have to be busy or we have to pick up our phones or we have to do this or
Mm-hmm.
do that. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, just rest and be present in the moment.
Yeah. And I love that you had a lot of awareness of how you work and who you are, and you worked with that instead of like trying to compare yourself on like doing what this person's doing and doing this what this person's doing, and it's like, why can't I do this and why is it not fitting in my life? Like, I don't understand. It's like you worked with how you are in your attention span and all of that stuff, and you created a different system that works for you. And
Mhm.
so I think that's awesome. And that's literally a season that I'm actually middle of right now, of eliminated the things that are actually not important, and how much time I was actually spending on my phone saying it was work, or being on social media and saying it was work, or on streaming services. And so that I'm just like on a 99.9% hiatus on that, and it's amazing how much I'm actually getting done. And I use that as an excuse. Like, I don't got time. I gotta go to work. Then I have my coaching clients. I gotta show up on social media. Then I gotta do this. And then I gotta do that. I don't have time to do these other things that are actually important to me too. You know? So
Ye- No, that's a good point. I actually was, as I was preparing material this week for the
mhm.
my coaching clients, we're going to
Yeah.
talk about the time, like we just talked about
Yeah.
prioritizing time audits. And a study was done and I forget how many people. I think it was like 1,700 people,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a time, like a time questionnaire or a time audit, like questionnaire for like I think it was like I said, I think 1,700 people
Mm-hmm.
that worked 8 hours in the office each day, and they asked them what they spent their time on, and they were there in the office for 8 hours, right? Only about 3 hours of that was actual productivity time. Like
Wow.
they spent 30% of their time was going to get snacks or eating or just because just sitting there for so long,
Yeah.
their minds
Mm-hmm.
like, or just
Mm-hmm.
like social media, checking their social
Yeah.
media and things
Yeah.
like that. And so when we people say that like they don't have time to do things, if you just kind of like blocked your time or put and then put away, eliminate all the distractions that are gonna like that are I call them thieves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Eliminate those distractions and just clearly focus on the task at hand, you can finish so much quicker. Like I had to do something Saturday, and my husband was gone. He went to go do his RC crawling, and he's like, "Do you want to go with me?" I'm like, "Nope. Kids are going to be in their room at least.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Saturday. They're going to sleep in. You're going to be gone. I'm going to bust out some stuff." And so I worked on a bunch of different things that I needed to get done, and I
Yeah.
finished them in 2 hours. But
Mm-hmm.
I had to redo something a little later because I didn't check the sound. I was recording and I didn't check the sound right. And once everybody else was home and around me, it took me 4 times as long to record it because
Wow.
the distractions, the dogs,
Right.
the,
Right. Right.
all the animals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
yeah, I used to do this thing. I don't do it anymore. I should probably get back into it. Is like when I was making all these excuses, like, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, when really I do have time. I could be off social media scrolling. I bought myself a timer, a digital timer, like
mhm,
fit away from my phone because you can get distracted by your phone, right? So I bought like it's in the other room, and I set it for 30 minutes, and I was like, whatever I can get done, even if it's 15 minutes, is amazing how much you can get done. Whatever I
mhm,
can get done in 30 minutes in cleaning, that's what I'm gonna do. No distractions. I'm gonna go from the next to the next to the next. And then when my alarm goes off, I'm done. Like,
mhm,
and that's it. Not 1 minute longer. Um, and I think that's, powerful too on social. If you are using social media for business, like set a timer, set restrictions, set boundaries on that. Instead of automatically, when your things get uncomfortable or you're just standing there by yourself or, anything,
mhm,
or to wind down, you're probably like scrolling or on some type of streaming service. But just set timers because it's okay to be on your social media, watch Netflix.
mhm.
Uh, but how much time are you wasting on that is a question.
Right. And that's one of the things, what you described, the 30 minutes and or it could be 25 to 30 minutes
Mm-hmm.
because our minds start to lose focus after a little bit
Yeah.
longer anyway. That's
Mm-hmm.
the Pomodoro technique. And we actually I told
Pomodoro.
every Pomodoro. And so last
Pomodoro.
week I told my coaching clients to use a little timer, and I'm like, even if it's a cooking timer or like a
Yeah.
stopwatch, just
Yeah.
make sure I go. And if you're going to use your phone, I want that phone turned upside down so you're not looking at it.
Right.
Get it away, and then also like when we're trying to focus on stuff and we're trying to get like all these things done and we really need focus is just even cleaning out your area, like decluttering
Oh, yeah.
and things like that. And that's something that with your type of coaching has really helped me is decluttering the thoughts that are in my head or
Mhm.
decluttering the negativity or, and like when you had, but going back to when you talked about the root cause is like trying to like peel away the onion and why am I feeling like I need to be this way or what am I pushing down on because I'm so scared to like
Absolutely.
release it
Right.
as well.
Right. Like, what are you avoiding? And it's
Hmm.
crazy. Instead of saying, what's the number one thing people say when, especially with clutter, especially physical clutter. Oh, I'm messy, or, I'm lazy, or I don't have time to clean that. But it's, yeah, the physical clutter is a little literal clutter in your mind. And what are you avoiding? What are you avoiding that needs to come to light? Um, yeah. So,
And when you say that, I was watching, I forget what it was. It was something with Atomic Habits, James Clearly, and it
mm-hmm.
was one of his maybe a podcast or something. And he said, it's not that you're messy, it's just you have a bad system of cleaning up correctly or when you're done with the end of the day, or I forget the way he actually said it, but it's like,
Yeah.
what kind of system do you need to put in place so that you can clean it? Like at the end of the day, can you set up 5 minutes just to clean up whatever you have and then prepare for your
Hmm.
next day? So what I do
Hmm.
is I'll set a timer when I'm supposed to, when I'm going to end my day for work, because I work from home a lot of the time too. So I'll, my full-time job. So then I'll set up a timer. Okay, this is, you got to make sure your computer's shut down, make sure that you, all the things. And then I look at my calendar the day for the, what time do my meetings start for the next day? Do I have everything in place for that? And I actually do it an hour before I'm supposed to shut down. So that way I can kind of like, do I have all the stuff I need for the meetings?
Right.
Kind of, and then that way, once I'm done, I'm not thinking, did I do this? Did I do that? Or did I like, it's like, okay, I already know how I'm going to prepare for the next
Right.
day.
You're
And
decluttering or you're, yeah, getting ready for the next day the night before.
hmm
And you can't say you don't have time. You have 5 minutes.
hmm
If there's water freaking coming out of your wall, yeah, there's like a water burst. Are you gonna say you don't have time to go shut off the water, go find the water, you
hmm
know, shut off? Like, are you gonna say you don't have 5 minutes to go find it and go turn it off? Like, no. If there's like something like that, like you are gonna make the time. And so again, atomic habits, like those little habits accumulate over time. So
hmm
that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um, well, I just love talking with you, and I just wanted to know, is there anything else that you want to share for my audience at this time before we get into closing?
mm,
Like, what comes to your mind?
what comes to my mind? Just letting go. So I guess it's like almost grieving, letting go of what you think it should have been, um, especially in your business, um, and like where you should be, you know, um, and letting go of that, just knowing that this having a knowing that there's something even greater. You can't see behind that bush right now, and you're holding on to something that maybe is time to pivot in your life. Maybe that thing is not serving you anymore. Um, and knowing that there's something on the other, God is giving you going to give you something on the other side, and you just can't see behind that bush right now. So just letting go of that, allowing yourself to grieve. It's okay to grieve that idea, that life, that business, that friendship, whatever it is, however long it takes you, because your grief is your grief, your pain is your pain, however long it takes you. Yeah.
I love that, and it's kind of like, we want a roadmap to like, we want to know like the roadmap to success, right? Like, tell
Mhm.
me how I can start making like $1 million today. Like, give
Mhm.
me the roadmap and I'm going to follow it.
Right.
But it's not like that. Like, we're going to have like pivots in our lives. We're going to have like things that we have to deal with. And I know that sometimes it's so hard to say this, but we want to go from A to Z like that,
Oh
like
my
just a
gosh,
snap.
yeah.
But we could go that quickly, but then we probably more than likely are going to lose it because we didn't do the work behind the healing, behind managing our time, behind
Mhm.
all the things that we need to do in order to be sustainable. And that's one of the things I think that's really important. So I love that you
Yeah.
shared that.
Yeah. There's so much growth that's happening in the in between, not just in your business, but within yourself, that you're learning about yourself, um, and becoming someone. Maybe, it's like not recognizable, but you're becoming someone different in a good way along the process. So,
And then you don't just become, you are constantly becoming the
yes,
ing. Yes.
yes. The ing.
What would be one phrase or word that you would like to leave the listeners with a call to action?
One phrase or word. Or and a call to action?
Yeah,
One word
that
as a
you would.
call.
Yeah, like if you want to give them one word that tells them like a call to action um,
Mm,
or phrase.
I would say the word would be sit, and sit in the hard, sit in the emotion of, sadness, anger, or happiness. Sit in it, allow it. Or maybe I should say allow instead of sit. Allow it instead of pushing it down, pushing off to the side, saying, I don't have time for it. I'll come back to this later. Being your authentic, true self is allowing that and being in it no matter how hard it is, and even expressing um, and sharing with those around you. And if people take it well, great. You can have a great connection. If people don't, just realize it's not personal. Maybe just in that moment, they're not in a season where they can tap into their emotions and they're hard. So, um, yeah, I would say just allow whatever season you're in. It's okay it may not, your body may not feel good to sit in the anger or the sadness. Um, but it's amazing that what comes from that as you do like sit in it more and allow it more, how much healing can come from that.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. That's so good. Well, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. And I just want to remind my audience that you should be always willing to embrace change and seek out opportunities for growth, whether it's in your personal life or business. Don't be afraid to experiment with new ideas and processes and be open to feedback as well as
Mm-hmm.
constructive criticism
Yes.
along the way. And remember that refinement and shining is a continuous journey. It's not just a one time deal. So don't be discouraged by setbacks or
Mm-hmm.
obstacles. Keep moving forward. Stay focused on your goals and celebrate your processes and your progress along the way. It's time to shine. So let's go.
Woo! That's good. That's good.
um, Mary, I'm going to leave all your info so that they can follow you in the show notes. But is there any last thing? I mean, you have your website, so I'll have that, and any
Hmm.
ways that they can contact you.
Yeah, the best way in this season right now is through my website. My email is on there, and then you can send a message through there. But currently, I there's a wait list for my one-on-one clients. I am starting another group in September. So just an FYI. But thank you for having me. I really, really enjoy our time together. I feel like this is really like the only time where we can really like catch up and talk, and this fills my cup. So,
Yes, well, I thank you for having just accepting my invitation to be a guest on
mhm,
here. I love that we both started our podcast this year,
mhm,
and
mhm.
just I love you so much, friend. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fill your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind the scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. And until next time, keep refining and keep shining.